Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL. As I've been telling you, I will probably be at minicamp when you're listening to this. I'm recording it on Memorial Day. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day. I got a lot of stuff going on, so just want to knock this out quick. Probably just a 10 minute conversation today. But I am excited to get down to minicamp, see these rookies in particular, body types, as I've mentioned. And you're not going to get sick of it, but I'm going to come back to it time and time again. That I think you guys that have listened know that my two big goals are increasing yards per carry for the Steelers from last year up to like the 4.2, 4.3 range. And frankly, leading the league in sacks. And we're going to stress the second part of that today. I mean, sack differential is a real strong component to winning teams. And their sack differential was -9, which means Steelers quarterbacks were sacked 9 more times than they produced. And a lot of that, I'll tell you, is on the quarterbacks. We've talked about that before. But that's only better than 6 teams, -9. And they're all bad teams. That's not going to cut it. So, again, I'm stressing the defensive side of things today. They ended up with a sack percentage of dropbacks that end up in a Steelers defensive sack, 6.3%. That's 18th. I mean, just exact middle of the road. Pressure rate of 34% is 16th, exactly middle of the road. That ain't going to cut it. And again, some of that is situational. The Aaron Rodgers game, the ball came out super quick. Okay, but it's 17 games. And average time to throw against the Steelers was near the shortest in the league, but not in the top 5 or so. So that's more of an excuse than we can, go with here. You need to influence quarterbacks more. You need to hit them. You need to sack at a very, very high rate. Because frankly, your quarterback, no matter who that ends up, is not going to be better than Burrow, Lamar, etc. My whole goal here, and it really stresses the Bengals because their O-line isn't very good and they throw the ball like crazy, is I want Burrow to have the worst 2 days of his life in this year when he plays the Steelers. I want him to get hit 12 times, 6 sacks, maybe still lose, and maybe he beats you over the top because you blitzed heavy or whatever. But I want him to feel it for days and days and days on end. And that's very possible. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With the largest selection of odds and everything from the NBA to NHL playoffs to MLB to UFC and boxing, BetOnline is you covered for all your online wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. Along those lines, it's list season. There's not a lot going on. So a lot of these bigger sites, and trust me, I used to do this when I worked for ESPN, are putting out lists, top players under 25, and they're fine. And frankly, lists sell. People click on them and they yell at you because you have him 6th, he should be 8th. Okay, whatever. So I'm not going to cite these over and over and over, but I think back to our sack conversation, this is very relevant because Pro Football Focus put out their top edge rushing ranks. Now, I like Pro Football Focus. I go to their site every day. I utilize their stats a lot, their data, but it's not gospel. And there's a lot of things on their site I don't agree with. It just don't pass the eyeball test for me too. So I'm sure this first part you guys will hate, but I agree with it. And I know that's controversial in Pittsburgh, but they have Myles Garrett as the best edge rusher on the planet right now. I would also put him 1. They have Micah Parsons number 2. I would also put him 2. Now, I also believe that there are 4 elite edge rushers, including TJ Watt and Nick Bosa. And I think Max Crosby kind of stands alone Well, he maybe he's an elite. Maybe he's the top of tier 2. But I think he's definitely behind those 4. And frankly, if you had those 4 in any order, I understand. But my order would be the same as Pro Football Focus's, who goes Garrett 1, Parsons 2, Watt 3, Nick Bosa 4. So I agree with them on the order of the top 4, but I think almost everyone would agree those are the 4 names. So the Steelers obviously have one of those players. Now I want to read you what they say about Watt. Watt is best known for his pass rushing prowess, which is on full display once again in 2024. His 90.1 PFF pass rush grade marked the 5th time in 6 seasons he earned a grade of 90 or higher, which is awesome. He also took home their PFF Run Defender of the Year award honor last season, backed by a 1.63 yard average depth of tackle and a 3.2 negatively graded play rate, the lowest among all box defenders in the NFL. So I'm sure some of you are like, Williamson, you're an ass for not putting him over Garrett. We hate Garrett. Some of you are over there going, they should trade Watt. He's old. Get rid of him. Don't pay him. I understand both sides. But what I will tell you is he's awesome. And I would not trade him. They're not going to trade him. He's coming off a phenomenal year, even though he didn't lead the league in sacks. And his run defense was, frankly, off the charts when you watch the All-22. So he is still an awesome player. Now, we're not going to go through this whole list, but I am going to mention these next couple names. I said Bosa's 4. They have Hutchinson ahead of Crosby. I wouldn't. But Hutchinson was phenomenal before he got injured for the Lions last year. Crosby 6. Trey Hendrickson 7. Jared Verse coming off a rookie year is 8. He was tremendous. Will Anderson is 9. Khalil Mack 10. Still getting it done. Josh Allen, Daniil Hunter, and number 13, Alex Highsmith. I mean, we're talking about big dogs. I mean, I just mentioned Daniil Hunter. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, a lot of those names I mentioned are Hall of Famers. Khalil Mack. I mean, that's a neighborhood Alex Highsmith is in. And I agree with it. I definitely think he's a top 15 type guy. So you have a top 4 dude and a top 15 dude. Here's what they said about Highsmith. And I've heard some people too. Trade Highsmith, just plug Herbig in. No, you keep these guys out there and you be awesome and you beat the crap out of quarterbacks and you lead the league in sacks. The Pittsburgh Steelers fielded the NFL's best defensive line in 2024. I'm not the only one saying that this is the best defensive line. And Alex Highsmith was a major factor. The 5th-year pro continued his ascent as one of the league's top edge defenders, earning an 89.0 PFF grade, which was 8th amongst 119 qualifying players, despite missing time with an ankle injury and playing through that a little bit. It marked the 2nd consecutive season Highsmith ranked among the top 10 at his position. That's what we're talking about with this guy. I mean, it's not, yes, he is Robin to Watt's Batman. But Robin's a superhero too. You know, I mean, this is a big time player. I mean, they have him ranked over guys like Rousseau and Brian Burns and Jalen Phillips. I mean, Rashawn Gary, really, really good players. So again, you should lead the league in sacks when you have those 2 guys out there a high percentage of the time. However, they ranked 32 edge defenders, and the Steelers had Nick Herbig in there as well at number 32. That's 3 in the top 32, and one of them's a backup / role player. Now, you also add Sawyer to that company, who you guys know that I didn't love the pick, but I'm warming up to it quite a bit just because he's so much bigger, more physical, more every downish than Herbig, more of a run defender, more of a Raven beater than, a Bengal beater. Here's what they said about Herbig. No player embodied the pass rush specialist role better than Herbig in 2024. And folks, that's what he is. I don't want him out there every snap. Thus, Sawyer becomes important because if Highsmith or Watt misses time, I don't want Herbig out there all the time. The 2nd-year pro was elite in limited snaps. Elite. A 91.5 PFF pass rush grade. 4th among 109 qualifying edge defenders. 4th. That's pass rush only. However, he did struggle against the run, grading out at a 48.2, which is 110th or 101 out of 109. And we'll need to improve in that area to move up this list next season. So I don't always agree with PFF, but boy, I agree with everything they had on this list. Herbig should be on there, but he is a pass rush specialist, and that's great. That's the hardest thing to find. Highsmith is much better than given credit for, and Watt is elite. If you guys want to fight about, is he better than Garrett, better than Parsons? Fine. You can criticize me all you want on that, but they're all awesome. So you mix that edge group with a group of linebackers that blitz well, with some secondary dudes, Minka, that blitz well, but more importantly, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, and a first-round pick in Harmon that is already a very disruptive player against the pass, and I expect that to translate immediately and should only get better, as should Benton. You should lead the league in sacks, or at least you got to be in the top 3. And again, if the ball's coming out so fast, well, then play press man coverage and disrupt that, because you have to have these guys feasting because they're phenomenal football players. And as mentioned, I think it's the best defensive front in the league.